if you're thinking about freelancer, if you're wondering, okay, I can have taken 1 month vacation. It doesn't work that way. It's just not.
Yeah. Or you could do
Yeah,
that if you're solo traveling, like
yeah.
you're
If
not
you're solo
dependent on
traveling,
anybody else.
Or
freelance
with
is
other
like,
freelancer.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be ideal. But
We are back now, and yeah, we are talking about wearing multiple hats, being a con in freelance. So we are almost done with all the pros and cons for the freelance one. The last one would be delegating or outsourcing. This is more of an when you reach a stage where you're like having too much work and you are delegating it. So, you could delegate it. That's a pro. The con is that you have to find people who are who you can
Who
rely
can
on to
deliver.
delegate work. Yeah, you can deliver. So yeah, it could go both ways. Right now I'm struggling with finding reliable people. What about you?
hmm. I'm
Eh,
able to find reliable people, but I have trouble with finding people who can draw and animate in my art style. Because if they draw and client gets to know, okay, this is not the same thing, then that's like not the thing that you're looking for. So right
Yeah,
now I'm training people to have, hands-on experience on how I draw, and I share tips and tricks with them so that eventually they can help me out with something like that. But then again, there is a chance of them applying for a job or somewhere else where after that they will not be able to help you. So you have this issue when you are employing someone as well. Okay, you teach them everything and then there is a risk of them leaving, and for that there are people who make you sign bonds and stuff like that. But in freelance you cannot do that, and it is better for them to, it's not like you cannot gatekeep someone's talent.
mm,
So, like, that
but
is
in job
a thing.
also, one can
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there are jobs where you have to give 1 month notice or few months notice, but in freelance, there's nothing like that unless you do, format a
mm,
contract in wherein you say that within, like, if you have a project and you have to hire someone, then you can make them sign an agreement where if you are sharing something, non-disclosure agreement or something like that, so you will have to be on that project for that month, at least for that project you will have to be there, and you need to give some accountability to whatever you're working on. You cannot be like, okay, suddenly I don't feel like working on it, and I don't feel comfortable, and then just leave. So there's a little bit of everything. Like, you do sometimes manage to find exactly the person that you're looking for, and sometimes you have to cultivate that kind of art style in that person, and sometimes it just doesn't work.
I think you have to hold out money for them to be like consistent for the project initially, so at least because
That's not exactly true though, because at least in my experience it was not the money that was
but
having.
that's what I'm saying. If they are doing suppose they are doing 1 or 2 animations, small one, but they are
Hmm.
then going out, means suppose
Hmm.
not telling you and ghosting you, then you don't have
Hmm.
much to lose. But if you are like they are going in between the project, then there is more to lose in, means if there is a lot of work.
yeah.
So it's better to like maybe sign a contract with them also.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Hmm.
If
Like
it's a
unlike
big
a job,
project.
they can just leave SA and you'll be like stuck with. So you're also
Also, like you need to have a bit more time also. If someone leaves, then you should be able to like fill the gap at least for the
Hmm.
smaller
yeah,
projects.
have
Hmm.
other people,
I think
like
contract
backup or
is,
something.
yeah, contract is something that is, keeping all the terms on the table. It's not like you contract to keep someone tied to the project. It's not like that. It is like an agreement that, okay, you decide to work with me for this tenure because I will be needing you. It will be very difficult for me to handle everything if you suddenly decide to leave. And even for that person needs to know, okay, if I'm designing something for you, you won't be like, okay, I have the design now you can go. They also get to see the whole project and work on it. So I think you need to have a contract, whether you're dealing with freelance work or a job. There has to be a client which is contract which is transparent, and you can get benefits, like both teams can get benefit from that.
Yeah. Basically, delegating people is like
Also,
being
yeah.
doing the HR also.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes
So,
it's a hit or miss, I was saying,
Yeah.
because sometimes you think that person can deliver, but they are not able to deliver, then you get annoyed, and then maybe you're sustaining them for longer than required.
Hmm.
Sometimes that also happens, maybe in like hopes that they'll deliver after feedbacks.
yeah, you
Yeah.
experiment sometimes, and sometimes they genuinely have some family issue or something like that, and they're not able to deliver. In that case, you need some backup. You need 3-4 backup plans if you're a freelancer for everything.
Yeah, that is true. So I guess we are done with all the pros and cons for freelance. We'll quickly go through the pros and cons for a job. Uh, and so yeah, most of it is discussed in the freelance section only. That the opposite part you might get in a job. So one of the pros in the job category would be having a stable income, um, whereas it's like a fixed income, right? It's stable, but
Yeah.
it's fixed. So yeah, I think we talked about it. There's like a ceiling, you cannot cross it. But then again, even if say you're sick for like a week, 2 weeks, you'll still get paid something, right? With the job. Freelance may I know my things fluctuates so much my income that it's like sometimes it's uh, now it's relatively stable, but before it was like it fluctuated from like sometimes a few thousand to a lot of money. It comes and goes. Yeah, or
Yeah,
you'll have it
especially
like
when you are relying on, promotion or something like that, like on Instagram. It really depends on what season it is. Is it sale season or is it festive season? In that case, you'll get a lot of work. But then other times, like during summer, there is literally no work and you have to rely on client work.
yeah, you'll have more work than you can handle
Sometimes
at that
even you
time.
don't get anything, client work also,
Yeah.
like it is total silence. Like I
Mm.
had
Yeah,
a
that
period
is.
almost this year, I guess, beginning or last year end, that like for 4-5 months I didn't get any projects, and like suddenly when you get 3-4 together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even I had like a month of that. No, nothing at all. So I was just working on my own stuff. So yeah, that's a
Yeah, that's
pro.
why like I'm developing projects on the side, which like
Yeah,
when there is nothing to do, you can at least focus on that.
yeah. It
Exactly.
doesn't drive you crazy. Then it's so yeah, again, stable income, a nice pro. Another pro we have is no investment in setup. So like we discussed, in freelance, you have to invest in a lot of stuff. We don't even think about the little stuff, like say it's Wi-Fi, the light bill, and stuff like that. All of that adds up a lot. So if you're working uh, in a job, so it is much easier. Like you all could maybe help put it out better. Like you all have work jobs. So what did they provide you? They the laptops or whatever you worked on.
The biggest thing that I got to experience was display tablets, because I was not sure if I should be getting one, if I can afford one. So like when I applied to a job, they had Wacom Cintiq. I was like, oh my god, I want to work on that. And when I worked on that, I realized what display tablet gives and what you need it for. And then I decided to invest something like on Huion, because at that time I could afford only Huion. So
Hmm.
if and then there is monitor and PC with a high RAM and all that, so you can experiment so much there. And you, like, if your job is giving you all of that, then you can experiment with pen tablet as well. I had experimentation between pen tablet and display tablet, and then I decided to go with pen tablet because that was better for me. Especially in animation, you don't need a lot of detail work like illustrators do. And I have some neck issue, like I get a lot of neck pain if I draw like this, so that's why I don't like display tablets that much. For
But
me, pen
you can
tablet
keep
makes sense.
display tablet like straight.
I
don't like
tried that, but I still have the habit of like leaning and doing. Even if it is
Do
like this,
you
I
have
just
the smaller version?
no, I
Like
have
the
Canvas 16, so it's big enough. But
16
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you can like buy that support or keep a book under the tab support so that it is more
Hmm.
elevated. Because when I had the smaller version, like 13 inches, so I kept a thick book uh, under that so that it is more elevated to your like this eye level almost. You don't have to do this, like basically.
So yeah, we
Mm.
discussed not having, like, not investing in a setup. So you get a lot of things when you're doing a job. And but yeah, the con is that you have to work with whatever you're given. So if it's a nice company you're working with, you'll have nice stuff. But if it's not, they'll have mediocre stuff, and you have to kind of make do with
Hmm.
it. Another thing is the job. If this is situation, if the job is nice, then the work hours are fixed. After a certain point, you're not supposed to do, you know, uh, overwork or something like that. So
Hmm.
again, depends on the company because a lot of them exploit the artists. So y'all have any input on
Sometimes
that?
I would like, okay, if sometimes some means exceptionally if there you have to overwork, then it's
Yeah.
fine. But if it's a regular thing, then I would say it's a red flag.
In like a
And the
lot.
problem is that even if you see the red flag, you cannot leave because you cannot. There are very few studios, first of all, for animation, especially. Like
Yeah.
even illustration, for illustration, you have options like you can do for animation, you can do for children's book. But for animation, there is like very less. And in that, there is, Toon Boom animation, which is a lot different than TV Paint animation, which is hand drawn. So if you pick a niche of animation, for you, switching is a very difficult thing to do. So you have to stay in that red flag wala place till you find something which is much more stable.
Yeah. So I've
For
seen a
that, I
lot of,
think nowadays YouTube is better option for content creators, also Instagram.
yeah.
It is tricky to
That is
learn,
if
but
you
it is
want
at
to,
least
yeah,
safeguarding you.
yeah. That is if you want to go that route, content creation wala. And I feel a lot of people, it sounds very good, content creation, but it's a lot of work.
But you
Uh,
don't need to absolutely focus on content creation part. You can just have your stuff out there. Even that
hmm,
bit helps. Like
yeah.
if I see someone's work, I'm like, oh my god, I need to hire this person because I have exactly that project and I don't think
Hmm,
I'll be able to handle it. So I'll
Yeah,
just reach out to
yeah.
that person.
some animators just put their work like there is
Yeah.
a
Short
definite
films and all.
style,
Yeah.
but no, not short film, just a short clip they have
Hmm.
animated like that. I'm saying like
Yeah, yeah.
random
A lot of
clips, but
people
they
do
are
that.
effective clips.
Hmm. I've seen a lot of them embed the same YouTube videos in their portfolios as
Hmm.
well. Anyways, so one of the cons in job is like in India, I think in India it's more prevalent. That is like uh, you get exploited a lot in terms of I've heard about a lot of animation studios not paying their employees on time.
I've been
I've,
there.
Mm-hmm.
it's like months and months they don't pay anything,
Yeah.
and a lot of studios have shut down as well, not paid for months. So, your experiences with that?
It was very difficult to leave that place. You knew that they are not going to pay you for the next month as
Mm.
well. Like they give you fake promises, like, yeah, we got a new investor or a new project. So that will pay out and then we'll be able to afford paying you. But if you can afford a studio and if you can afford employing so many people, I think you can afford paying at least that month ka. Like I understand if you have 1 or 2 month ka issue, but then it was like two months ke slab mein you were not getting paid. And
Mhm.
then when I quit, I had this issue of negotiating ke, like please pay me. Then they were like, first we need to give preference to people who are working with us, then we'll pay you. That is and there is nothing in a contract saying that you have to be paid within that month, or you can have something like if you don't get paid that month, there will be an interest rate, and if you pay me next month, you'll have to pay more. try putting that in the contract, because otherwise nobody is liable to pay you at that time.
Hmm. So, like,
Also in remote work, also that same situation happened with me,
hmm,
that people were getting late. Basically, whenever you join a company, you need to be involved in all the stuff. Like at least you need to know what their marketing strategies are going on, how their management is going, how they're dealing with clients, because you get that intuition that something is going wrong. And then the salary, if salary delays are starting to happen, that is the first red flag that you should try your exit. Like just prepare for your exit, and don't, like, it is like a bad relationship. Don't don't linger there longer, or it will get toxic for you more.
hmm,
So better like take the decision quickly, because you expect like, yeah, they'll pay later, but maybe they, like, it is very far in the future. Maybe they'll keep like after 3 months, maybe after 6 months, you never know. You just keep working, rather than that,
yeah,
just leave and apply somewhere else, or do freelance, or just do something. At least you have things in your own hand. But when you are just giving full time to them and you are not getting paid, and there is no guarantee of getting paid, then like you are wasting your time basically, and giving
And one
free
or two
labor.
months, yeah, exactly. And 1 or 2 months is fine. We understand as freelance creators, we understand that there are months where you don't get client work. But if you have a studio and if you're employing any, number of employees, like more than 10, you can afford paying them. It is just them taking that money and investing in something else,
yeah,
or they
Like
should be
shady
ready for
practices.
layovers. Yeah, they should be ready for layovers in that case. At least pay people who are working for you. If you there are people, I had a lot of people working with me who were not providing as much value as I was, but they were getting paid, and they were given preference because they were seniors. Now they knew that they were getting preference, so they were taking more, longer chai breaks, longer smoke breaks, used to leave sooner, and I was there, just working for God knows what. And then I decided to leave. But it took me a long time to accept that, yeah, I am not going to get the preference here since I'm not senior.
Yeah, this office politics stuff is also very hard to handle when you are in an
Yeah.
organization. At least in freelance stuff, you don't have that to deal with office politics and like
yeah,
senior management stuff. And also that like a senior people attitude, maybe like we are senior, we are senior.
yeah, that is true. So, lot of exploitation salary-wise in art and animation department. But a pro to having a job would be you get to network with a lot of people in the industry. So I like since I have started freelance myself, I had to learn everything myself, and I feel that took a lot longer. Like if I had done a job before and then switched to freelance, then maybe I would have had a bit more knowledge on how to handle things. So has your network, since you two have been in jobs, has your network, you know, helped you out in any way?
It was ulta for me.
Yeah.
Freelance gave me a lot of opportunity for network because
Oh.
my freelance was based on Instagram, which means that
Mm-hmm.
I found opportunities that were my level. Like
Nice.
for during jobs, I could only find, help from people when it was related to animation or something, but there was no community or a network kind of thing. Like there was networks if I leave one place, I knew who to contact to get hired somewhere else. But that was like limited to job. It was a very small, say, community kind of thing. And we were not in touch frequently because everybody had a particular thing that they were doing for the job. But in freelance, you do almost everything. So when you are connecting with other freelancers, you have so many questions, and you are like, okay, how to network, how to edit videos, and all that. So you keep in contact with people for longer because you need help in multiple things. So you frequently ask them for help, or maybe just discussing what's going on in the industry. But if you're limited to job, you are limited to that circle, and you might not even know what's going on in illustration. You're just laser focused on animation. So that was my
Yeah, like
experience.
for freelancing, you can like network on many places, social media, LinkedIn, and all. I have been doing that. It's basically up to you that you can how much you want to open up and network with other people, ask for advices. Like
Yeah.
that's why I ask others to create the group as well. Like
Hmm.
because it's better to keep in contact with other artists, so like you can feel like you are not alone. And at least means some people have the fear of talking and all, but at least when you are in a group you can maybe approach them through message if you want to ask for
Hmm.
advice or something. So maybe create your own groups or something like that, and keep on adding people, exploring with other people. So like that you can, that is a great way of networking, I would say. And also LinkedIn, you can approach other people for advice, maybe ask some pros for mentorship. It's up to you basically. Even in the
Yeah.
job, if you are an introvert person, you won't talk to much people in a job as well. So
That is
it's
true.
up to you. Yeah, it's up to
Hmm.
you, like how much you want to talk with people and build that like confidence. Don't be
Hmm.
shy or say like don't be an introvert bubble, like I'm introvert, I don't know how to speak. Because everything we learn as we grow and we do it repeatedly, so try speaking out and communicating repeatedly, I would say. So it's a skill to
Hmm.
acquire, not like a personality trait that you can't do it.
That's a good
Exactly. And the
point.
more you, yeah, the more you talk to people, the more you realize that you are not the only one experiencing some hardships. When you talk to people, you
Hmm.
understand how to deal with that also, because they might have gone through it and now they have a clearer picture. So talking always helps. It took me 2 years to open up and talk to people, but the moment I started conversing, I got to know that there were better routes that I could have taken, and I just like didn't ask because I was concerned, okay, what will they think? They'll think I don't even know this much. But don't think that.
This question, don't even think that what will people think. That is the
Yeah.
worst thing to think about.
Exactly. It's going to
Because
stop you and your growth.
yeah, it's their character, which is like what they are thinking is reflects their character, not your character.
Hmm.
Because you are
Hmm.
here to
Most people,
explore and learn.
most people don't even think that much about,
Exactly.
uh,
They are preoccupied.
But
They have their
especially
mind
like
is preoccupied.
girls have that thought, I guess, more
no,
like
I
what
also
people
have
think
that,
or
I had that in the beginning. Now I'm like, now it doesn't matter.
hmm.
But that was a good point.
Hmm.
In like you said, if you are an introvert, you won't be networking in a job as well. In fact, I feel if you're an introvert, job me, you're getting paid, you're working with the same people, you're like, I don't want to do anything else. But if
Hmm.
you'll be doing freelance, I feel all three of us have felt the need. Okay, if I want to succeed, I need to put myself out there. So
Absolutely.
I have to kind of network. So yeah,
Hmm.
so that is another. It could be a pro or a con networking in the industry. You meet industry people when you're working in the job. You could do that in freelance as well. So it could be a pro or a con. It's up for a toss.
You
So
can just go for meetups or workshop as well to make meet
yeah,
professionals
you
if you're
could if
freelancing.
you're freelance. So
Hmm.
another we discussed pro would be you would get pipeline knowledge. So we already discussed this in a job. You have a pipeline knowledge of what software and equipment you're using. In freelance, you
Hmm.
so that is a pro. Con is the travel time. That also we discussed. You
Yeah.
especially in Mumbai, it's like 2 hours you go, 2 hours you come back. So
I
it's
think
not
it's
just
everywhere, not in Mumbai also. Like in remote places also, the
yeah.
work areas are very segregated from where people are living. So they
Hmm,
have to
true.
travel like 1.5 hour to go to that
Hmm.
commercial zones.
Hmm.
So your total time is not just your 9 to 5 job, it's taking into account also your commute time.
Or maybe
So
if you're
Hmm.
traveling, then practice when you're traveling. Either you
That is
can
very tough.
practice.
I
yeah.
tried that. I tried that, but you cannot. Like if you
Not
are
in
in the
Mumbai
bus.
local, dude.
Mumbai to
Mumbai
you
local,
No,
cannot.
you can't
no,
do that.
not even local. I'm talking about bus. Even in bus, you cannot, like, you get distracted too many
It
times.
keeps,
Hmm.
yeah. Also, it keeps moving too much
Yeah,
buses.
otherwise
Yeah, but I
otherwise
was
you
like,
miss
"Okay,
your
okay,
stop.
at least it is very complicated.
Or
Traveling,
soz
like,
off, sleep.
take
Yeah.
naps. That
Take a
is the
nap.
best,
That is the
and
best.
don't miss your
But
stop.
that also, if you are doing like this in train, then it will give you spondylosis.
I think travel is one of the best pros of freelance. Like, you know, even if you
Yeah,
have a
you
studio,
can.
you can choose where
Hmm.
it is. So you don't
Hmm.
have to work, you don't have to travel too far away. Anyways, so travel a con for a job. Then a pro for the job would be you get feedback on your work, which you don't get in freelance. You do get from
Hmm.
the clients. I'm not saying no,
Hmm.
but in a job you would might get freelance feedback from your colleagues, which is really helpful. So yeah.
For freelance, I think you have to ask for feedback, because a lot of times clients will not tell you. They'll just say just change this because vibe match nahi hua. But then you have to discuss and get it out of them that what exactly are they looking for. So that can be a skill that you need. Okay, you need to understand what the client wants, because a lot of time they don't have animation or something background
Yeah, they're
like
not
art
creative
related.
people that way.
Yeah, so they don't know exactly what they want. They cannot word it out. But when you're, working full time on a job or something, the seniors know exactly what you're going through because they have been through that. So they'll
Hmm.
be able to tell you exactly what you need to work on. So for learning, I think job would ideally be the best option. That's why I, applied for jobs.
Hmm. That's great. So feedback on work is one thing, pro for the job, especially
Hmm.
since you're beginning. So one con would be less creative freedom, and this is a big one. Like you don't
Hmm.
have much say in whatever project you're doing. You don't have much say in the art style you're doing. So what have you all experienced? Your experience with jobs that way?
Hmm.
Mine
Didn't
was
get much.
total freedom.
Oh,
Total creative freedom.
that's nice.
A great job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just give script and you can like do whatever. Means basically like character design you can do accordingly. You can just do everything accordingly. Just they gave minor feedbacks.
Mhm.
But that was also a con point in that because they were not like
You're not
they were
interested in.
no. Or like when you are creating suppose a comic on a specific character, you have to keep that particular style. If you are giving it to different artists for the same character and asking them to draw, suppose if you are doing Mickey Mouse comic, so if you we three are drawing it individually, suppose 3 issues, and then like one issue you're drawing, one issue I'm drawing, then the character consistency gets lost, I guess. But they were like, no, it's okay, like characters are the same but just art style is getting different, so it doesn't matter. But I thought it is means it matters a lot because for Spider-Man also you can't change them always, like in each issue it's looking different
Mhm.
art style, because Marvel DC comics are of a specific art style and a specific character design. It's not doesn't fluctuate that much, but
Mhm.
they were like thinking else, I don't know.
I think that makes a lot more sense. Like if you have a job where you are doing just one thing and that is all you need to do, then you get more creative freedom. And when you're collaborating and there is a mixture of art styles, in that case you have to stick to a character model. You have to stay on model. So for animation, I did had that issue, but then when I switched to storyboard, I was given the whole storyboard to plan out. So there I had a lot of freedom. I could exactly visualize whatever I wanted to. I used to pitch it before doing the details, and they used to give me little feedback. And then I just, created the whole storyboard because I was not collaborating with other storyboard artists. It was just me. So, sort of, you need to see what kind of job it is and then decide whether you'll get creative freedom or not
So what you all are saying is creative freedom would depend on what you're doing
on the
in the
project.
job,
Yeah.
on the project.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's great. But like in freelance, you have like complete, not complete,
Complete
complete
100%.
creative freedom most of the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Not
At least.
You can
exactly, I
pick.
would say still. Like if client has demand for specific art
Yeah.
style,
But
specific
if I
stuff,
don't do that,
then
then I won't do it. I say I won't
And
take
they'll
it for
approach
sure.
you because
Yeah.
you have a particular art style. So it mostly will be
mm,
in line.
yeah,
Like
I'm doing different stuff, so that's why.
right now, I'm
Like I'm
also
not
in
doing
that stuff.
exactly same.
I'm also in that thing where it's not exactly my style, but I have to do it because it pays well. So
Hmm.
sometimes, but not most of the time. Anyways.
Right.
Yeah, that project. So
So next up, we talked about this. We have like your discipline is something you develop in a job. Freelance mate is much more difficult. So if you are a person looking for discipline, a scheduled time, I think job would be much better. Also, it's like better to start with a job so you
Hmm.
develop that discipline and then switch to freelance so you can, learn, take that
I
discipline.
don't think that would
True.
work
I think that
because
works
it's
like,
up to
That helped me.
personality type.
yeah. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're like if
Hmm.
you want someone to just sit on your head and then only you'll be disciplined, then I feel I get like that sometimes because if someone's not sitting on my head, I'll be procrastinating. So yeah, again, it's a personality trait.
Or at
This,
least like working together.
Hmm.
Some
hmm, true, true.
Yeah, I
So
guess if you have like schedule issue, then you can work with someone so that you keep each
Yeah,
other
because
motivated.
I was working from home, but I had hired an intern, so she was coming to my home to work. So
hmm,
like
Hmm.
at least we had a dedicated time, so I had to sit obviously with her
hmm,
to
Right.
work. Like it
hmm.
was 10 to 6 schedule.
Oh,
Hmm.
nice. So yeah, so discipline is something I think more personal,
Hmm.
not a job related thing. Then we have one pro is like no managing finances. You're not working out invoices. You're not how much I'm going to get paid for this. You're not negotiating. So, and even income tax is relatively simple. So you're not managing finances. I think that's a really nice pro because right now managing
Hmm.
finances, it's a huge mess because as a freelancer you
Yeah.
have to kind of
Especially like
outsource
I
to someone like CA
income
or something.
tax like filing is very tough for like beginner freelancers.
Yeah.
We
Hmm.
don't even understand like where to start, where to begin, and especially if you're delegating work, some of your money's incomes are also going to other person. Then how to show
Mm.
that in your like accounts? So all that
Yeah.
is very messy to
Yeah.
do.
Like
You
there's
need a
a
CA friend or something like that to
uh,
understand what
Even a
is there.
CA in India don't know much about like freelance stuff, like how to calculate
mm,
that and all that. Because I have been consulting CAs for freelancing finance, but they also don't know all the rules and regulations because it is a relatively new field
yeah,
in
Hmm.
India
in
since
India
like
at
a
least.
few years. Because everyone
Hmm.
has suddenly started working online and all.
Like there's so many
Hmm.
ways you can save money, but you don't know. Like, you could apply your software fees, your rent, your whatever equipment you buy, and you can reduce that from your tax that way. But most people starting out don't know. So again, a pro for a job
Hmm.
for managing finances, you don't have to do that in freelance. One con on a
Hmm.
job would be to work on projects that you don't like.
Yeah,
So
that I think we covered.
yeah, I think we covered that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
We covered marketing. We covered not having much say in the job. I suppose.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then we have like in some places, this is a pro. In some places, you get healthcare and you get the PF money and whatever.
Hmm.
So I think that's a good thing. So do you think animation studios or these art studios they provide healthcare and all of that?
The last place I worked, they did, but other places not so much because
It
studios
depends
are
on the
different
size of
than
company, I guess.
Hmm.
size. And the company that I work for was actually a company, and before that, it was just studios. So if
Hmm.
it has a studio name, then you need to check whether they provide something like this or not. And companies have to. And since
Hmm.
if they have IP and their main income source is from their IPs, then they will provide healthcare and all of that because they are earning that much.
Hmm.
But otherwise, if it is studios, so it could be a little like you just need to see what they're providing.
Like, even if you're working like a good agency, I think they provide healthcare.
I
Uh,
don't think.
I have
Yeah,
I
yeah, it depends on like you need to
It
have a
depends on the
conversation with.
agency one. If you're like in a good agency, they do.
I'm saying no, it's basically I have studied like income tax stuff. So in that it is like if you are like earning more than this amount, then you have to give PF to your employees. And also if you have specific number of employees in your organization, suppose I think it was 100 or something, then if it is 100 or more, then you have to specially create those PF accounts. Something like that is their rules.
Oh, so smaller studios cannot afford all of that, I suppose.
Or basically they are not obliged to by the government
Yeah.
itself, but the bigger are obliged by the government to create. If your like limit is going beyond, I think it was 100, I don't remember, but something like that.
So if you are a freelancer, it's you have to spend money investing in a mediclaim or something like that. And if you're taking up a job and if that is one of your priorities, so make sure you check, okay, what all benefits are there with the job. So there are certain
But
benefits.
basically PF and all also cuts from your own salary. So in freelancing also you are getting it from your own income.
That is true. But it's like some people like that, after retirement thing, I'll get some money. And so, yeah, that is one thing. So again, we talked about the job being location dependent. So if you are, say, in a metro city, it's just much easier to find studios and everything which are located nearby. But if, say, you are in a tier two or tier three city where there are no studios, there's no um, agencies and stuff like that. So finding an on-site job would be a lot more difficult for you. So that again, that's a con that for a job you might have to move places unless it's like a remote job, which I feel since COVID has stopped, like people have also stopped with a lot of the remote jobs. Some jobs are still there, but yeah, a lot of them are still location dependent. Um, One pro would be you get to work on bigger projects. So say you work in a VFX thing or you work in an animation studio. You might get to work on, say, a cartoon show that is being shown to millions. You might get to work on um, the new Spider-Man movie. Who knows? So if your dream is to be part, some people dream, right? Okay, I want to be in Disney, I want to be in Pixar, I want to make, work for Marvel. So I think if that is your sort of dream, then having a job makes sense. Did you all have dreams like
But
that?
sometimes, like in that, I would like to add, it's not like, means as you said, if there are more people, like VFX industry is also big in India and most of the foreign projects are being done here, but you are just a small part of it, like almost negligible of that project. So you don't feel that proudness maybe doing thing, but rather if someone is approaching you to do a bigger part in a movie or something like that, suppose you are a freelancer, so Disney will ask you directly to collab with them. So like that is more proud thing, I would say,
So that is more
rather than
But
difficult
you
being
to
a
need
get
like.
outside.
experience for that. You need years of experience for Disney to reach out to you as a freelance
But
artist.
you
But when
also
you
need
were
like
working,
experience to do in like VFX studio or that. Those people
when
are also
I
like needing experience.
when I was working on the job, I immediately within 6 months I got to work on DC Superhero Girls. That was a beautiful project, and I was not qualified to animate on that project. But since it was from the studio that was able to handle an animation like that, and I had seniors who were looking over me and helping me how to animate and all that, I was able to land a project like that. And even after that, another project was like on a similar profile. It was very hi-fi and I got to learn a lot on that. So initially when I was getting into animation, I was like, oh my god, I this project I would not have been able to work on if I was freelancing. But now I have that experience, so now I get approached by people who are on a bigger level. But at that time my only resource was through jobs.
I would still say like it depends on your portfolio. Like if it is a good portfolio, maybe bigger companies can approach you. If it is a unique style, because I have been seeing some artists which have like very unique style and they have been consistent. So they are approached by different brands and like bigger studios. to work.
Yeah, if you
for
want
that.
to stick to freelance, you'll have to be a little patient. Eventually, it will happen. But if you want it quickly, then jobs already have such big projects going on. And sure, you will have a smaller role, and you might not be that creatively. You won't have that much of freedom. But when you're starting off, you just have this curiosity to work on something big, and that motivates you to keep learning. So
And
for
there's
me,
also,
when I worked on DC superhero girls, I was like, okay, I want to learn this style of animation, and that's how it, kept on going. That's how I learned animation in the first place.
and there's also the brand name attached to it. Like you could always put that in your portfolio, and then you know,
Exactly.
uh,
Hmm.
you don't necessarily get that very early on in freelance. Maybe later with time. In the beginning, I was like, okay, I want to work for some gaming studios that I like. But right now, I'm like, I would rather work on my own stuff than, you know, uh, I would work on my own projects, my own
Hmm. Hmm.
Spider-Man or Superman or whatever, rather than work for them. But it depends on the individual. I can totally understand the fan base and wanting to
Hmm.
work for bigger projects. Another con we discussed this, you cannot moonlight. So basically, moonlighting is you are you are working a job, but you are also doing something else to earn money on the side, or maybe build a portfolio that so that you can leave the job. So a lot of the jobs they have in their contracts, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Most jobs would not allow you to work outside of the job, like Vibha had mentioned before. So you cannot effectively moonlight that much unless the job is like they don't care that much about it. One good thing about a job is another pro would be the notice or the severance period. So in freelance, your clients can just, they can just bail on you. You won't get any money and you won't get any. But in a job, even if they fire you, they have to keep you for like there's a notice period, right? After which you get fired. So you have a time to search for other jobs. So have you had like in freelance, have you experienced that, or in freelance have you um, gone through the process where clients have just bailed on you and you're like, okay, I'm now financially done for the month.
You have to be
Absolutely.
ready for everything in
Yeah.
Yeah.
freelance.
So,
Clients ghosting, feedback delaying. They'll say the deadline is in 3 months, but they'll take 1 month to give feedback on basic stuff.
Hmm.
Then the deadline goes like 6 months.
true. So again, severance period, notice period, nice.
Sometimes they don't even give you notice period. Okay, that
They don't.
also happens. Like sudden layoffs are also a thing if you're bad.
But then you
Suddenly,
get severance pay for that, right?
you get.
Yeah,
I
it's
think in
not
a job you might have to.
severance. What is it called? Severance? Yeah, severance pay,
Yeah,
I
if
guess they give you.
if they suddenly lay you off, they have to pay because you
Mm-hmm.
were
Yeah.
in that mindset that this will be covered,
But
like
still, the
you will be
severance
covered
pay is
for that
like
month.
a month or so.
Yeah, you that is not covering the notice period wala part, so would make sense.
So
But if you have like
yeah, layoffs is one thing
commitments,
where
then it's issue.
layoffs is another con of a job. So I think Vibha was talking about layoffs. The higher up you are, the more likely you are
Hmm.
to get laid off if the company is not doing well.
Yeah,
So
because if they
Because
are
you
having
have higher
financial
salary.
issues, yeah, if they're
Mm-hmm.
having issues with their funding,
mm,
then the higher salary people will get laid off quickly. But it also depends on why they are getting laid off. If it is they are not able to afford that many people, then maybe the juniors will get laid off. If it is financial issue, then people who have a higher salary, they might get laid off. So you have to also keep your eyes and ear open, like how are the projects going, are the projects deteriorating in quality gradually,
mm,
like maybe before you were working on some big shot company, now it is some local company that they are collaborating with your company. So if that is the scene, then there is a possibility of you getting laid off, so you have to prepare for that as well. But
mm.
like keeps fluctuating. Like the graph is not always like this. So there is always a possibility of layoffs, layovers.
Bridge layover.
Uh, so yeah, lots of. I think we've discussed all of it, the pros and cons
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
the job versus freelance, and in the end, like what to choose. Now, it depends on a few factors. First of all, which stage you're in. So, like if you're a beginner, what would you all recommend? I would say you do a job first. What would you
Yeah,
all
same.
recommend? Ki-
Job first, and then once you have confidence you can produce something that you can sell to your clients, then freelance. But then again, do like when you're switching from job to freelance, do it slowly. I have seen a lot of people take, just leap of faith and just start freelancing, and then it takes 1 year to set up the base so that client
Yeah,
can actually approach you. Even if you have great amount of followers, client will not approach you for your work till you have a proper base of freelancing. You have a proper system of invoice and how you're going to charge. Do you have a portfolio? So you will need some time for that. So do the switch a little gradually, don't do it suddenly.
yeah, because you might have to save up for a bit. So,
Hmm.
in periods where you don't get paid, so at least you have that job money with you. So, but if you're a
Hmm.
beginner, definitely go for a job first if you can,
Yeah.
for the experience, for the learning thing.
I have
So it's
a
better.
bit contrary opinion, but I would say it depends on your personality as well. I am a person who can't like work under a bad management. So I like mostly in India there is like bad management, and I don't know,
Yeah,
like I don't
that
want to
that is
work
something
job.
I feel that is with me. I cannot work.
Especially in India, I don't want to
Uh,
work on jobs.
True, and that's why I've never tried for a job. I've been very lucky with the Instagram page. So, but
Hmm.
I I've never tried for a job because I don't feel I'd be comfortable enough. So again, depends on the personality
Hmm.
or how much office politics you want to deal. Another one to think
I
about
hate
would be
office politics.
I think you can skip office politics, but yeah, it's up to you. Like
You can't do
you
it. Like
you
can.
they'll
cannot,
just
yeah,
come in creeping some way or the other. Maybe someone is jealous of you, or maybe the management will try to put blame on you for something which is not your fault because you are a low level employee. Something like
yeah.
that happens very
Hmm.
They
often.
prefer some employees
My
over other.
my goal while working on the job was getting all the skills and trying to understand the pipeline. So there was issue
Yeah,
with salary and me not getting increment, and others were getting who didn't even I thought deserve, but then again who knows. But that didn't get to me because I knew I just need to gather the skill sets. It's fine if I get paid a little less this year. Next year I will be equipped to do something on my own. So that was my approach. But then it depends, like, what is your future plan?
you
Hmm.
have to be really clear about um, what you want out of the job and not be too
Hmm.
burdened with the office politics, or try to keep a low
Hmm.
profile in the beginning and just focus on learning.
Just keep your
Hmm.
mindset then on
Yeah,
learning, that you are
yeah,
here to learn and
Exactly.
not like
yeah, these things are going to
increment or
happen.
get along with people like on that level,
Get
like
along with
office
people will be
politics.
tough. Like you are
No,
going
no,
to
like
piss
in
someone
that
off.
on that level, I'm saying like office politics level, like
Right,
chakugiri
right.
or something like that.
So another thing to consider, whether you want to do freelance or job, is your monetary expectations. Do you want a stable income? Do you
Hmm.
want
Hmm.
uh, an income which has no ceiling? Right. So those two things never, almost always never go hand in hand. Stable income
Hmm.
does not mean that you could, earn like sky high. So if you want a stable
Hmm.
income, again, a job is a very good thing for you. But if you want, okay, I want to earn, how much the work I put in, I want to earn that much. So I think that would
Also,
be
you can
a
charge.
freelance. Yeah, you can charge whatever you want in freelance. Anyway, so again, one other thing to consider would be your need for stability in terms of like your family, how much you are dependent on your family versus how much they are dependent on you. So right now, I feel my family, my dad just retired, and my mom is also a school teacher. So they are not as much, they are not dependent on me as of now. So if your family depends on, starting with freelance diving headfirst would be something, I'd recommend, or I don't think any of us would recommend that. So yeah, and I think we already discussed the personality part of it.
Also, like you need the one big point is you need to get used to getting rejected every day, almost like from proposals from client or not getting the project. You need to create that mindset that you are not going to get 80-90% of the stuff which you are
Yeah,
approaching or either the clients are approaching. It will not like go long term, means it will not
Yeah.
convert into a project.
It is
yeah,
like having a shop. Like there will be people, customers entering, and they might not buy. They'll just look around and leave. So you
Yeah,
should
but
be
you
okay with
need
that.
to get used to that mindset because we are
Yeah.
not used to getting rejected to from the childhood,
hmm,
I would say. So like we
Mm-hmm.
are very like if you are a like good achiever or good mark student or like always trying to be best at things, you take it personally like is my work not best or like is my work not good
True.
or why are they
Hmm.
rejecting me or why didn't I get selected for that project? Like it gets to your mind. So basically don't uh, think about it much
yeah.
because
I think in the beginning stages it irks you a lot. In the beginning, I was like, oh my God, I missed out on this project. Like, why didn't they choose me? But now it's like it's fine. One project will go, another one will come, and yeah. And again, we discuss personality. So it depends what kind of person you are. Do you are you I it is not the most popular thing to say right now, but I think as a freelancer you need to hustle in the beginning. It's otherwise
Hmm.
it's just not possible. So if you're the kind of person who hates the hustle culture, the freelance might not be for you. And yeah. So, anyways, I think
if
this
you
is,
don't like hustling, don't even choose the art field, I would say.
yeah,
I
hustling.
think there is hustle everywhere. If you
Hmm,
want a particular income and if you want a particular lifestyle and you
yeah,
don't want to go below that, then there is this hustle thing that you will have to keep up with. But then no pressure. You can
Some
take
jobs
breaks
are
in
very
between.
basic,
hmm.
corporate jobs.
Yeah, corporate jobs with like you get paid and it's like chill. You can come home, not do anything else, and just live life. I sometimes want that, but then again, I also don't want the ceiling to it would get
Yeah, yeah,
monotonous.
comfort zone is very like good thing and a bad thing at same time.
Yeah, good thing in terms of you're stress free more.
Hmm.
Bad thing is like you're not growing as much.
Also, like when I was laid off, I felt more free than like in a job. I was
Hmm.
like, I have more freedom now
Yeah,
to explore different things
yeah.
and choose like projects and all.
So I think this is a good place to stop. We have discussed all the pros and cons. We have also given a rundown on which one would be right for you, all the factors. So which stage you're in, beginner, intermediate, your monetary expectations, your stability requirements, and your personality. So take in consideration all of that. And we are not proponents of either freelance or job. As we have said, start with a job that would help you develop a lot of things and then maybe switch to freelance. So yeah, it was really nice. It was a really lengthy conversation. Maybe we
But it
might
was
cut.
needed. Like we
Yeah,
needed all of the information out there.
yeah. And we might cut this into two parts. So yeah, you might have a part one and part two. So yeah, good place to stop. And you can follow us on the links in the description. We have our social media links and our portfolio links. If anyone is interested, we also have a daily draw group on WhatsApp and we are planning on Discord. So we'll also be posting links for that in the description. So we just sit together, we draw, and we talk about work and work on personal projects during that time, like one weekly. So you can obviously join us. So yeah, great conversation. I think we can take your leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye then.
Chalo. Bye.
Fine.